What's up, everybody? Rob J. Speck, the host here, and I'm very privileged and happy to introduce to you the extremely talented, very dangerous Torrez Finney. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Rob. How you doing today, brother? Hey, thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for be on your platform. So, yeah, man, thank you.
Hey, thank you, and thank you for joining us with the AllStar. And my man, you are just a couple weeks away from a very important fight. Every single fight is important, but I'm sure this one has a little extra emotions on it. Tell us how are things going for you? Obvious question.
Things going good, man. I think we're just camps winding down. If not already towards the end, and yeah, we're just putting the final, dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. We at the end, baby, and I'm really excited. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited to the chance to be on the Contender Series once again. I know things like this isn't guaranteed, but we're really confident. After what happened last year, we'll be right back here once again, and we're just really blessed to. I know a lot of people fight really hard just to get one opportunity on this Contender Series, but I'm really thankful and blessed that I've had the opportunity to get two, and I'm definitely going to make the best of it.
That's right, my man. And thank you for saying that. And then just another touch on it. Usually I try not to bother fighters in the last couple weeks leading into the fight. For anybody out there in media, I'm not telling you what to do, but let me just tell you guys, it is the worst for these folks. So try, if you want to do interviews with them, try to hit them up before or after. Let them be for the last 2 weeks. And sir, making middleweight, sir, you are a fully developed middleweight. I'll say that. You're fully developed middleweight. Is does it do you need like a good amount of time to get there in a healthy way?
Yes, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's gonna be hard for a brother like me to take short notices. It's funny. Like there's certain fighters that don't do short notice. Like, have you ever seen Paulo Costa do short notice? I'm sure you never see Hamzat Chimaev do short notice. You probably won't see Dricus do a short notice. Like there's just guys. Nah, I mean, obviously the champion, but before that, like there's just
Right,
certain
right.
guys that just not meant for short notice. And I think I'm one of those guys overall. I'm gonna need more than just like a 2 weeks or 10 days to make those type of weight cuts. My brother's going to need at least 4 to 5 weeks. If you give me 4 to 5 weeks, yeah, I can make that cut. But ideally, we like to always have a full fight camp. Slowly let myself get down, and it just me being a former football player. I'm just naturally big. Just naturally, that size, and I've been that size a good bit since high school. So like since my junior in high school, I've always been a big muscular guy. I've always known how to use it, obviously, because I wrestled and learned how to use it in other different sports. But yeah, it just the weight they just carry on. And over time, I've obviously shed some of it. But yeah, it's definitely just a lot of football weight. And yeah, sometimes it's hard for me not to eat like a football player.
And we've heard that from several football players, the adjustment, but you get all the athletic benefits, but like you said, adjusting and maybe even trimming certain muscle groups that
Mhm.
don't really necessarily need it here now, the
That's right.
total size. That's really funny. And usually I try to bring in a couple of fan questions towards the end, but you just hit on something that I gotta ask you now. Somebody asked, Chiefs Keeve asked, ask him if he ever lost a push-up contest in high school. Because dude, you talk about football, and I think anybody who played football back in the day thinks of that. But like, man, honestly, bro, like, have you ever lost a push-up contest like in high school or ever?
Well, okay. So as crazy as this sounds, what started me on my push-up journey? One, my granddad used to always do contests between me and my cousins or me and my sister. And there was one time I did 100 straight push-ups. I think I was like 12, 11 or 12. She did 105. She beat me
Nice.
and she won the $20. Now, granted, she had her butt in the air. She all of them went good. But the fact that she was able to do 105 and she was younger than me, I think she was like 8. Like she just pushed herself because she really wanted that $20. She beat me. And that really geared at me. And I just stayed on it. And also when I hurt my ankle in ninth grade and I had surgery, um, the first thing that popped up on TV was the Herschel Walker documentary. And when that thing popped up on TV, that's the first thing I saw. And I would roll out of bed and just do push up with one leg up. And no, I did not lose a push up contest ever since that moment. And I'm gonna tell you why. Heaver, he's a good friend of mine. He likes to bring that up. because there's times where we was in PE class and it was like, all right, everybody was just doing individual push-ups. You had to like all you had to do was hit 20, I think 20 or 25 to pass. And I said, I'm just
Okay.
gonna go all the way up to 50. So I just did 50. All right. He just goes and does 51, and he likes to use that. He beat me in a push-up contest. When he
Ah,
beat me in a push-up contest, because I
ah.
didn't even know we were competing. So he likes to use, oh, I beat him in a push-up contest. I said, no, you didn't. We weren't even competing. I was just doing push-ups just to do push-ups, but whatever. But I always tell him, let's do a push-up contest now. He don't want to do that now. So
Hey, I love it. I love it. I love that story. Thank you for explaining it, dude. That's great. And that's the funny thing. Shout out to Papa, to Grandpa. To giving those kind of fun challenges because people they don't know what kind of impact, that kind of positive stuff happens. The little bit of positive competition. Yeah, definitely. And shout out to the girl cousin 105. That's what's up. Yeah, no, that's really cool that you guys know each other. And you brought that up, and I thank you for answering that. And that's such a friend thing to do. Like just like, hey, that one time I got you, and I'll never play it again. Uh, Lord knows there's some people who want to play air hockey against me, and I'm never taking that match back.
yeah,
Um,
that's right. That's right.
all right, so it seems like when you challenge something and maybe it didn't quite get there, seems like you stay focused on getting there even better the next time, or proving that you can do it better than anybody should the contest come up again. And why I'm bringing this up is, I want to ask how you dealt with not getting the contract the first time on DWCS, on Dana White Contender Series, because brother, you killed it. Like you killed the in my opinion, you killed the audition, and there must have been some kind of emotional, like rebounding from that. Am I wrong?
Well, so in a way, but also not really. I was like I tell everybody this. I was mad for about 5 minutes. At the 5 minutes, I was good to go. I looked at my coach Larry and I said, "There's nothing to be sad about. I won the fight." The main objective of every MMA fight is to what? Come out with your hand raised. I did that. Now, Dana White Contender Series obviously is another situation to where there's other factors that goes along with it. Obviously, you have to
Right.
press Dana as much. You have to have a good, fight. Look good. And I was just in a situation to where, I went against a solid opponent. I mean, Yuri was undefeated as well. He was undefeated as an amateur. He was undefeated as a pro. All first round finishes. So like, got him to the second round and got a finish on him when he had a pretty good first round. I had to deal with some adversity and I came back. So I'm not necessarily mad at the fact that I didn't get it. Like I was a little pissed off at first, but then I thought about it as like, you know what? We're gonna come back. We're gonna grow from this because this is only gonna make you better. And I felt like, I know a lot of people you like to utilize the fight necessarily as like me overcoming adversity, but I like to utilize this moment as me overcoming adversity. And that's why I am so ready for August 20th to showcase like the moment when Dana said, no, that is my time to go. It wasn't the fact of the fight when I'm showing I can overcome adversity because I've been doing this my whole life. I've been told I was too short to play football. I was told I wasn't good enough to beat certain wrestlers in high school. Then I would beat them. They're highly nationally ranked, and then I would beat them in the state championship. Told I was too short and wouldn't be overall good enough to play Division I football, let alone get a scholarship. Guess what? Did that too. Like I keep hearing all this. I'm too short for the weight class. I hear all this stuff. And little people know that makes me want to do it even more. Like you saying this is not nothing to hurt me. It makes me want to do it even more. I work even harder to just show you that I am what I say I am. Like I've been telling people, I'm no longer in the business of trying to prove people wrong. I'm just continuing trying to prove myself right. Because if I put my mind and set myself to do something, that means I'm not going in to set myself up to fail. That means I'm going into like I do it because I know I can accomplish it. And that's just the opportunity that I've been given on August 20th. Like I know I'm going to go in here and I'm going to accomplish whatever I want to do. And this second opportunity is just an opportunity for me to showcase that. It's an opportunity. I always go when I speak to kids or speak to people. Like I always talk about overcoming adversity because that's basically been my whole life. So overcoming adversity isn't nothing new to me. It's almost as if it's a habit. And
Hey.
now I just look at it and I don't blink an eye. If anybody saw me, one of the things like some people was telling me is like when you sat on that stool after the first round, you didn't look like you were worried or anything. You just look. all right, here we go, ready for round two. Because I always tell people, if there's ever a round where it could be 50-50, or I don't know, or up in the air, I always say I lost that round. Now, obviously, I did lose that round, but I just say I lost that round, because I don't want to ever go into the next round thinking, oh, I might got this. No, I look to dominate every round. I don't want anything to be close. I don't go into looking to just win. I look into go in to finish. I look into go in to dominate. I don't want you to give a chance. I don't want to get. I don't want that 1% chance. I want it to be a 100% my way. So that's the way I approach things, and that's the same way I'm going to approach whatever obstacle is in my way. And that's why I'm just really excited. So yeah, Dana White, not getting that contract for the first time, it was a little bit of a hit. But like I said, after a few minutes, a brother was ready to what's the next? When's the next fight? That's how my mindset was thinking. So
And that's a winner's mindset, honestly. That's the winner's mindset, and keep going. And let's be honest, man. You can't be getting too discouraged at this stage of the game because there's still so much more to do, right?
that's
So
right. I'm
I,
25.
I
That's right. And I'm
yeah, bro.
25. I only got so much time. I've only been a pro at this game for 3 years. So going on no, so 2007, 2003. Yeah. So 3 years. So I've only been a pro going on 3 years. This is like going on my third year. So like I haven't really been at this that long. And this is just still all new to me. Like I tell people, like me getting these opportunities so fast, it was shocking. Like last year, it was around a year and a half mark when I got my Contender Series shot, and I'm like, man, this is fast, And now I'm back here again. So right before my year three, like a little bit, like I got about like 4 or 5 more months before year three actually hits. So like in the span of 2 years, I've had the opportunity to be on a Contender Series twice. Been blessed to have like good fights and stuff. So I know we still got a long way to go.
That's what's up, man. I really like your attitude and the way you're approaching this for sure. And then obviously with this fight coming up, now that you've had time to process it, like making the UFC roster, like what does that mean now to you this time? Knowing that the last time you're like, hey, cool, I'm glad to be here. I didn't know, but now this time, second time around, you're doing all the right stuff. So what does it mean to you this time?
This time, what it means to me is like I'm confident. This time, like I said, last year after only being there for a year and a half, I was like, man, this is fast. Me and my coach was talking like this is fast. And then to see, like okay, there were a few things that I had to continue to keep getting better on, but now I see it and I'm like, get a year from now, a year from last year, I'm more than ready for UFC now. There's no more questioning of like, okay, is this guy ready for this? Is this guy ready for that? No, I'm ready. And it's from what I've been seeing myself do in the training room, from the guys I've been able to spar and train with, and see myself go with against multiple rounds. I know that I am ready for this. This is no more of a if Finney's ready or if this is a question. No, I think those questions are being answered. And I think August 20th, a lot of those questions will be answered. I am more than ready to be in the UFC. And I think for me, for what it means is once again, I put my mind to something and I accomplished it. Um, you know, this is still a small part in my entire life, and granted, it's a big thing in my life, but it's a small part of my entire life. God has blessed me to be able to do a lot of things. And I am just really thankful that, having this opportunity, I will be able to use this again, a part of my testimony to be able to go out and tell kids and other people, like, you put your mind to something, you really can do it. Because it's not like I was the guy that was picked to be able to do this. I didn't never ever in my life thought I would be a fighter. So the fact that I'm even fighting is already shocking me. And the fact that not only I'm a fighter, an MMA fighter, I made it to the highest level. So the fact that I'm able to do that in a sport that I never thought I would ever even be in, just goes to show how much hard work and you put your mind to something, you can do it. And I want to be able to use this as a testimony to other kids, and it's just a blessing. It will be a blessing to me, and I'm really confident I'll be able to get that done August 20th.
Bro, that's awesome. It seems like has a lot of meaning to you, but obviously a lot of meaning, like you said, to the community as a whole, to people who are like you said, young kids. They still might not even know where they're going yet, but to see that, hey, I made up my mind, I put in the effort, and you can get the results.
That's right.
Staying patient. That I love that, bro. I love that message very much. Um, now now of course, I you went to the last year's situation and you had one fight. You got one fight since then. Now I gotta ask, does having an undefeated record become like a problem at a certain point? Because on the regionals, I feel like once, like, it's cool at first if it's like 4-0, then people are like, oh, I want to fight you. You know, I'm gonna get my name off you. You hit to like that 7-0, 8-0 mark. You had a great performance on a widely broadcast event. The phone calls dry up, right? I mean, this is what I heard. I don't know. I'm asking you, how was it for you?
No, you're telling the truth. So before last year's Contender Series, it was already hard to get up. Like after I became 4-0, it was becoming incredibly hard. I mean, we even had sponsors, some of my sponsors willing to pay certain, fighters like, hey man, come fight, and they wouldn't take the offer. So it was hard. And like being able to get to this fight after, we went in after a really experienced guy that's had over 30 fights in his career. He's one of those gritty veterans that, hey man, I don't care. I go out here, and he had a winning record. He had 15 and 12, 15 and 11. So he had a lot of fights. And the man just, he trained with Luke Rocco, trained with Michael Bisping. He's trained and been in a trainer with a lot of legends. So he was a guy that you had to definitely take serious. You couldn't go out there lollygagging. And the other thing is I took a risk by taking that fight. So 4 weeks before that fight, I had got a call from my management, and they told me, you're gonna be on Contender Series again. You're gonna be on one of the earlier weeks. We're gonna have it week one or week two. So they didn't tell me exactly what. Obviously, I'm on week 2 now, but they said I'm gonna be on the early week of Contender Series. I said okay. They sent me the contract. Boom, I had already signed it. Boom, I had already had the opponent. It wasn't Cam. It was another guy from somewhere else. But I had already had the opponent, and I signed it. And we looked at options. Said, all right, you gonna still want to take that fight? And I said, yeah. I said, one, they gave me the options. 1, you could lose. 2, you could get hurt. 3, you could have a really bad performance where they could renege that contract. Was like, man, I don't think he's really ready yet. So there is risk by taking that fight. But I told myself, I was like, man, I'm ready, dude. Like I didn't fight since last October, and that's a long time for me. I don't like layoffs. Like I'm not accustomed to long layoff because I'm accustomed to being in this sport. And wrestling and football, man, those are consistent. Football you play every week. Wrestling you wrestle 3 or 4 times a week. So I like that consistency. And I was like, man, I don't want my first time ever being stepping back into the cage to be on the Contender Series. I don't want that. I want to get that fight in between. And man, what a blessing it was, because that fight was a home run hit for me. That fight was great for me, obviously publicity wise, social media wise, it looked really good in the eyes of the UFC. So it went really good for me by doing that fight, and it showed the improvement of my game. So yeah, I'm really happy that I took that fight. Now it set me up even better for August 20th.
I appreciate that, man. And small edit. That wasn't a home run. That was a grand slam killer. That was a grand slam. All right. Now going into a little bit of fun stuff. All right. You went viral for being in incredible shape. We got posted, everybody blew their minds on it. How does that feel? Like, like getting, like, I mean, come on, that just gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, people look at my body type and they're like, "What the freak is this guy?" I will say I know God created me in a weird way. I'm short, but I have a lot of tall men, like attributes. Long arms, big feet, big hands. I might got a short torso, but I got wide shoulders. Like it's just a weird combination, but man, for a fighter, I feel like it's one of the best combinations. I've been really like I have the length for just about any fighter you can find. Like it don't matter how long they are, I'm just as long. And like, okay, if you have maybe 2 or 3 more inches than me, okay, I really don't think that's a big difference in my opinion. And like it helps with my wrestling, it helps with my striking, it helps with my BJJ. Like my body size really helps with my style. So yeah, it is pretty wild for something that I've been looking like since I was in high school. So to go viral for looking like I look is pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited to showcase. I feel like I'm in really good shape now, so they're gonna definitely see a guy on August 20th how he looks.
Respect to that, man. And I like when people get credit for doing good stuff, and when you took care of yourself, get the credit for it. Hell yeah. Um, Now, I want to ask you, what is something that you like or like to do that's not obvious? Like if anybody went onto your social media, they know you had love for football, you love for wrestling, obviously love for fighting. What's something else that's maybe not so obvious that you're into?
Well, I like video games and I like movies. I'm a big movie guy. I like superhero movies, like all that stuff, like action movies. Well, I'll tell you this. Actually, is a good one. I play piano, so I don't think a lot of people know that I play piano. I used to play
Perfect.
piano for Sunday school. My granddad and my grandma would take me to piano lessons a lot when I was really young. I play. I wouldn't. I was in piano lessons for about 3 years, and then after that, I fell off a little bit. But I can still play piano. I can read some keys, so I can still dial it up a little bit. But yeah, that's one of the probably the small peaks about me is that yeah, I can play the piano.
I love that. That is awesome, dude. And I hope in some way that special skill gets gets noticed and comes out in some other form, my bro. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. And one more time, shout out to the awesome grandparents and to the papa. I have a great papa in my life, so I love hearing that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I always tell people my granddad, he's like my superhero, man. He's been a big part of my life and talk to him literally before every fight, and he just give me really good words. And I just, it's funny when you're young, you're a really young kid, you're always doing things to really, obviously you want to do good for yourself, but you're doing good so you want to impress your parents, or you impress your granddad. And that's one big for me. I wanted to impress my parents, my mom and my dad, my granddad, my uncle, my grandma, like just to hear them say I'm proud of you, a good job. That was big for me. So um and because the reason why it was big for me because it didn't come all the time. It's like you had to grind for it, like getting second place, getting third place. That wasn't no good job behind that. Like even when I used to be in middle school and I would wrestle the high school, because I had won the middle school championship in wrestling, and they put me on
Oh,
the high school JV team, early in my 8th grade year, and I was wrestling those guys, and I went to a all high school tournament and I got fourth. And I'm thinking, man, I won a few matches. I'm a middle schooler going high school juniors and seniors in there. And I beat a junior, I beat two juniors and another sophomore. And I got
right.
fourth, and I'm thinking, man, that's good. Nah, like it wasn't no good job. It was more like, well, what you got to do to be better. You're like, we don't settle for fourth. You're like, you're not happy about that. And I'm like, you're right, I should be happy about that. But I'm like, I'm a middle schooler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
That's how it was, man. That's how the expectations were, and those are still my expectations now. Yeah, we don't settle for anything. We strive to be the best.
yeah, there's a little bit of being proud of the effort you put in, no matter your placement, but at the same time, what could you have done better? I like that. I like that a lot. Now, Spencer, talking about sports and developing your character, essentially, I'm going to ask that. How important is sports to character development, in your opinion?
I really think it's very important. I wouldn't say every person on the planet has to play a sport, but I feel like they should do something that involves something more than just. I think it should involve some physical, like movement or physical things to do. Um, Energy requirement. Like sports, you have to overcome something. Like whether I'm on a team, whether I'm in as an individual, I'm competing against somebody. And I think even just a regular human, you're competing in the outside world. You're competing for a job. You're competing for, um, you know, trying to make more money or competing for that spot to get that promotion. Like you're always technically competing, but how much effort are you going to be able to put into it? Like are you going to quit when things get hard? Because now you see a lot of people, as funny as it sounds, like when Dana White was talking about this is one of the, like, if you're a savage, like this is one of the best times for you to come out and like be who you are. And I think as I really agree with him on that. It's like there's a lot of people that are not tough in areas. A lot of people are sometimes like a little bit too soft hearted. They're not willing to grind a little bit more. They're not willing to push themselves to the other side, and when things are hard, they're like, well, I quit. That just ain't for me. Instead of saying this isn't for me, like, let me see how much this isn't for me. Like, let me push to the brink. Let me see how far I can really go. And you see people quit before they even get started sometimes. And I
Yeah,
think sports brings that real character development because you start, let's just say you start in jiu-jitsu. You get beat up by everybody in class. Heck, you might even have a little kid that's 12 years old coming in and tap you.
because you will.
Right? Yeah, you probably will. Yeah, like, all right, boom. Are you just gonna like, well, jiu-jitsu is not for me. I'm done. No, no. We keep coming back. We keep coming back the next day and the next day because everybody in the room ain't gonna keep tapping you, like a year from now. Everybody in the room ain't gonna keep tapping you 2 or 3 years from now. So like understand like that development and people try to rush the process. A lot of people try to rush the process. Like even with me, it's like I've grinded so hard for so long. I know a lot of people talking about like how fast I've got to certain parts of my career, but I also look at it as like, well, I train 2 to 3 times every day. I've only committed to doing this since I finished college every day. So now when you see me, you're like, I have picked up on the same routes as guys that been doing it for a few years because they might do it like 3 times a week. I do it 3 times in one day. So imagine doing it 2 to 3 times every single day instead of doing it 3 times a week. So that's the reason why I feel like that evolution of getting better quicker happens for me because I put more time in. And I think that's what sports allows a character development. However much time you put into it and effort, and again, quality over quantity for sure, but however much time and effort you put into it is what you're going to get out. So yes, it's
That,
huge in character development.
bro, I love everything you just said right there. Everybody, did you just take notes? I hope you just took notes on what it's like to have a strong mindset, to overcome stuff, and to reach your goals. You know what I mean? That all of the stuff he just said right there was magic. I appreciate that. That was right on, bro. I got another question from the fans. What what does you oh excuse me, what do you want to be remembered for at the end of your fighting career? I know you're still in the beginning, so this is a hard question, but they're asking what do you want to be known for at the end of your fighting career, and any plans for what is life after fighting.
I want to be remembered as the person that was really, that I don't know. That's interesting, but I do want to be remembered as one of those guys that a lot of people didn't necessarily look at the beginning, and he continued to grind. He continued to grind, and he made the best of himself, and he made it eventually to the top. And I just want to be that, that little bit of a mustard seed. I want to be that mustard seed that people look at him like, man, he had that type of faith, man. He had that type of heart, and he grew, and he grew, and he grew, and he did grow into a mountain that was hard to move. I want to be that guy, and you see a lot of times where people look at him and look at me and they're like, oh, well, this is his ceiling, or this is his ceiling, or this is his ceiling. It's like I don't never put a cap on my ceiling. I feel like I can go as far as I can possibly be, and yeah, at the end of my career, I want to just be, yeah, Finn, you did everything you possibly could. You was able to inspire others. You was a blessing in other people's lives from just people watching you compete. And yeah, I want to be that guy that was you're gonna remember, and not saying that in a way of like, oh, I'm saying, oh, I want to be a star and everybody looking at me, yeah, Finney, Finney, Finney. No, 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 no. I want to be something that people can definitely look up to, and that I can definitely inspire and be a blessing to in their hearts. I don't necessarily care for all that fame and all that stuff. Like, yes, I know it comes with the sport, but I don't want to be that type of guy. I want to be a guy that can be a blessing to somebody else's life. So that's how I want to be remembered, and just be remembered in a good light.
Hey man, there's plenty of room for good guys, and there's plenty of room for good role models in this sport, my man. And I like hearing that. That's a great message, and I think anybody can appreciate that. That question was from Jay at Do It for Jacob. Thank you for that. Last but not least, the profile is just X user, so I'm just going to go with that. How did it feel? How does it feel walking into the room knowing you can kill any man there?
Well, I will tell you this. Being an MMA fighter, especially, a pro MMA fighter, your confidence level does go up. You are not really scared of like too many men. Now, granted, you gotta be mindful of that because people now carry a lot of guns now. It's not
Right,
it's not
right.
just pure hands now, but I don't really, I don't care your size and what you do. Like, you have to show me, because I've literally had opportunity to spar some of the best guys on the planet. and been able to do really well with some of those guys. So like a random Joe on the side, in a bar, a random Joe in a restaurant
Right.
or somewhere, you're not gonna get much push out of me. Like I'm not
Right.
gonna be thinking like, oh man, I'm scared of that guy. Nah, like
That
you're gonna have to be somebody for me to actually like even think twice. And even then, I'm still not gonna think. I just don't really think. It's gonna be hard for me to be able to walk in a room and be like, oh, I'm scared here. Nah,
yes.
I'm not, man. Even heavyweights, man. I like my chances.
No, I respect that, because once you run and train with killers and you don't die, you realize like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like I'm
okay.
okay. I'm okay.
A little pump in the face here and there don't hurt nobody anyway.
There you go. Well, Mr. Finney, thank you so much for your very clear and inspirational words, man. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. I'm sincerely hoping the best for your outcome. I'll be hosting a watch party watching you fight. I thank you for this time. Is there anyone you would like to thank?
Well, first, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me the ability and allowing me to be able to, have this platform to be able to fight, and be able to meet certain great people like you, Rob, and like people I've been doing interviews with. So it's been a blessing to be able to even have this opportunity in this platform. And I also want to thank my coaches, Matt Harris, Larry Scott, Sterling Peace. Those guys are very inspirational to me. They helped me out so much throughout my entire career. They've been with me since the beginning. Next, I want to thank my gym, Agogi, man. I love this gym so much. There's so many people in here to thank, and Peak Kinetic Performance. They're the ones that do my strength conditioning all the time. They spar at me. They do my strength conditioning, my cardio, weightlifting. I mean, they push me to the brinks, man. And I really feel like they're a real huge part of me getting to this point in my career. And I want to thank all my sponsors, man. I thank you very much. Johnny Jones, Robert White, Wham Bam. Thank all those guys really much for believing in me and believing into my career. So there's a lot of people, even more people to thank. Thank my family, mom, dad, granddad, grandma. Thank all those people, Uncle Snoop. It's just a lot of people, Auntie Tammy. You get the name and names, you miss people.
Right,
Entire family. So
yeah,
I love everybody.
Yes, and I'll cover for Mr. Finney. Just because we named some, that didn't mean we intended to leave anyone else out. It happens. Yeah, everybody. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for this time, and continued blessings on your journey. I look forward to talking to you a little while after your fight.
We will. Yes, sir. I'm down. I'll be back on here again. Yes, sir.
Take care, sir. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Rob.